Beyond the Veil, exploring the mysteries of life after death. The end of life has captivated humanity since we first pondered our existence. What happens after our last breath? Do we journey to another realm? These questions fuel myths, beliefs, and scientific inquiries. Our exploration will delve into the phenomenon of coffin birth, a rare occurrence shrouded in scientific curiosity and cultural taboo. Join me as we lift the veil, examining death's mysteries to foster a deeper understanding of life and its inevitable transition. Mysteries of the mortal shell, unveiling the science after life. Death marks the beginning of the body's natural return to the earth. Understanding these biological processes helps unravel post-mortem occurrences, including coffin birth. Decomposition begins immediately after death, leading to the breakdown of tissues and organs. This transformation, while somber, reminds us of our mortality and the ephemeral nature of the physical form. Coffin birth, an unsettling glimpse into death's aftermath. Coffin birth, or postmortem fetal extrusion, involves the expulsion of a deceased fetus from its deceased mother. Understanding the science behind this phenomenon can demystify it. Decomposition and specific conditions within the body can lead to this rare event. By examining the biological processes, we can replace sensationalized narratives with factual information. The decomposition process, setting the stage for coffin birth. Decomposition is the natural process by which the body breaks down after death. Bacteria in our gut play a crucial role in this process. Upon death, these microbes shift from silent partners to active participants in decomposition. This bacterial activity, combined with the release of gases and fluids, contributes to the phenomenon of coffin birth. Gases and fluids, the internal mechanisms of postmortem fetal extrusion. Decomposition leads to gas buildup within the body, creating pressure. This pressure can cause bloating and, in pregnant women, exert force on the uterus. Liquefaction of tissues further increases internal pressure. This combination of gas buildup and liquefaction makes coffin birth a biological possibility. Bacterial activity and its role in coffin birth. Bacteria break down tissues and release gases, contributing to postmortem fetal extrusion. These microbes multiply rapidly after death, releasing enzymes that break down complex molecules. The gases released during putrefaction create internal pressure. This pressure, combined with tissue weakening, can lead to the expulsion of the fetus. Beyond decomposition, other factors influencing coffin birth. The stage of pregnancy at the time of death plays a crucial role. The position of the body during burial can influence the likelihood of coffin birth. The type of coffin used can exacerbate gas and fluid buildup. Environmental factors such as temperature and humidity can also affect decomposition rates. Defining coffin birth, separating fact from folklore. Coffin birth, or postmortem fetal extrusion, involves the expulsion of a deceased fetus from its deceased mother. It's not a supernatural occurrence, but a result of natural forces acting on the body. Gases produced during decomposition and the breakdown of tissues contribute to this phenomenon. Understanding these processes helps demystify coffin birth. A rare occurrence. Understanding the infrequency of coffin birth. Coffin birth is rare, often only discovered through archaeological finds or historical accounts. Specific conditions must be met for it to occur, including the stage of pregnancy and burial circumstances. Modern embalming techniques inhibit bacterial activity, reducing the likelihood of coffin birth. Its rarity underscores the complexities of death and post-mortem changes. Historical accounts coffin birth through the ages. Historical records and folklore contain accounts of coffin birth, often intertwined with superstition. Early accounts, like those from 13th century Europe, highlight historical awareness of this phenomenon. As scientific understanding advanced, explanations for coffin birth evolved. These historical perspectives offer insights into how past societies grappled with death's mysteries. Handling cases of coffin birth with sensitivity. The discovery of a coffin birth presents unique ethical considerations. This phenomenon necessitates a respectful and compassionate approach. Imagine being the archaeologist or funeral director who stumbles upon such a scene. Initial shock and unease are understandable reactions. Remember, we are dealing with remains of individuals who deserve dignity. Coffin births provide insights into past practices and beliefs. Excavation must be done with care and respect. In contemporary settings, involve the family with sensitivity. Respect the family's wishes regarding reburial or cremation. Balance scientific curiosity with human compassion. Treat the deceased with dignity and respect. Understanding the decomposition process. Decomposition, specifically putrefaction, is crucial for recycling nutrients back into the ecosystem. The human body, a complex ecosystem, teems with microscopic life aiding in digestion. Upon death, these microbes become active participants in decomposition. Enzymes break down cell walls, paving the way for putrefaction. Anaerobic bacteria thrive, breaking down proteins and carbohydrates. This process produces gases, causing bloating and fluid purging. Section 13. Pressure dynamics, how gases and fluids contribute to expulsion. Imagine the deceased woman's body as a closed system, sealed within a coffin. Bacteria decompose the body, producing gases that accumulate. This gas buildup creates internal pressure, like inflating a balloon. If unchecked, this pressure can rupture the abdominal wall. The body, even in death, has some elasticity. Tissues can stretch to accommodate the increasing volume. Liquefaction adds to this internal pressure. Cells release fluids, increasing pressure further. Natural orifices may release fluids and gases. Section 14. The uterus postmortem, changes and reactions after death. While the buildup of gases and fluids provides the driving force behind coffin birth, it's crucial to understand the specific changes that occur within the uterus postmortem that make this expulsion possible. The uterus, a muscular organ designed to nurture and protect the developing fetus during life, undergoes a series of transformations after death. Immediately following death, the circulatory system ceases to function. The heart, once a tireless pump, falls silent, halting the flow of oxygen-rich blood throughout the body. The uterus, deprived of its vital blood supply, begins to experience oxygen deprivation, a condition known as hypoxia. As hypoxia sets in, the muscle cells of the uterus, starved of oxygen, begin to die. This process, known as necrosis, leads to the breakdown of cell membranes and the release of cellular contents, further contributing to the liquefaction of tissues within the abdominal cavity. Furthermore, the uterus, no longer under the control of the nervous system, loses its muscle tone. The once firm and elastic organ begins to soften and relax, making it more susceptible to external pressures. This relaxation, combined with the weakening of tissues due to decomposition, creates an environment where the expulsion of the fetus becomes more likely. In essence, the uterus, once a symbol of life and nurturing, undergoes a series of post-mortem transformations that, while unsettling to contemplate, are simply part of the natural process of decomposition. Section 15. Fetal position and development factors influencing coffin birth. While the processes of decomposition and pressure dynamics are central to understanding coffin birth, the position and developmental stage of the fetus also play a significant role in determining the likelihood of this event. Imagine for a moment the fetus not as a passive entity, but as an occupant within the changing environment of the deceased mother's womb. The stage of pregnancy at the time of the mother's death is a crucial factor. Coffin birth is more likely to occur in later stages of gestation, when the fetus is larger and the uterus more distended. A larger fetus occupies more space within the uterine cavity, increasing the overall pressure within the abdomen. Furthermore, as the fetus grows, the uterus thins and stretches to accommodate its increasing size. This thinning makes the uterine wall more susceptible to rupture under pressure, increasing the likelihood of expulsion. The position of the fetus within the womb is another important consideration. If the fetus is positioned head down, as is typical in the later stages of pregnancy, the pressure exerted by gases and fluids is more likely to be directed towards the cervix, potentially facilitating expulsion. Conversely, if the fetus is in a breech position, with its feet or buttocks positioned downward, the pressure may be less effectively directed towards the cervix, potentially reducing the likelihood of coffin birth. Section 16. Distinguishing coffin birth. Not just a case of misdiagnosis. While the concept of coffin birth might seem like something out of a horror movie, it's essential to approach this topic with a critical and discerning eye. Not every instance of a fetus found outside the body of a deceased woman can be automatically attributed to coffin birth. Imagine, for instance, the discovery of a burial site from centuries past. Among the skeletal remains, archaeologists uncover the bones of an adult female and a nearby infant skeleton. It's tempting to jump to conclusions to assume that this is a clear-cut case of coffin birth. However, other possibilities must be considered. One possibility is that the infant was born alive but died shortly after birth. Infant mortality rates were tragically high in previous centuries, and it's conceivable that a mother and her newborn child might have succumbed to illness or other factors in close succession. Another possibility is that the infant was stillborn, meaning it died in the womb before labor began. In such cases, depending on cultural practices and beliefs surrounding stillbirth, the infant might have been buried alongside its mother, even though it was not technically born. Therefore, accurately identifying coffin birth requires careful examination of the remains and the surrounding burial context. Evidence of fetal development, the position of the infant's bones relative to the mother's pelvis, and the presence or absence of signs of decomposition can all provide clues. Distinguishing coffin birth from other possibilities is not simply an academic exercise. It has implications for our understanding of past burial practices, cultural beliefs surrounding death and childbirth, and the overall health and well-being of populations from bygone eras. Section 17. Cultural interpretations of coffin birth from taboo to superstition. Death has captivated and terrified humanity for millennia. Societies have developed intricate rituals and beliefs to make sense of this inevitable transition. Coffin birth, an unsettling post-mortem occurrence, is woven into cultural tapestries. The death of a pregnant woman carried profound emotional and spiritual weight. Coffin birth evoked fear, confusion, and a search for explanations. Death during pregnancy was often attributed to supernatural forces. Coffin birth amplified these beliefs, leading to stigmatization. The taboo surrounding menstruation and childbirth fueled superstitions. Rituals were required to restore balance. Coffin birth became a canvas for societies to project their anxieties and beliefs. Section 18. Historical context, coffin birth in the Victorian era and beyond. The Victorian era, with its fascination with death and mourning rituals, provides a particularly intriguing lens through which to examine historical perceptions of coffin birth. The very notion of a child being expelled from its deceased mother's womb, even within the confines of a coffin, would have been met with a mix of horror and morbid curiosity. The fact that such an event could occur, even after death had claimed both mother and child, challenged their notions of decorum and the sanctity of the grave. Section 19. Religious and spiritual beliefs, navigating the afterlife with coffin birth. The concept of an afterlife has offered solace and guidance to countless generations. Religious beliefs grapple with unusual post-mortem occurrences, including coffin birth. Imagine the theological debates reconciling coffin birth with existing doctrines. Could the soul of an unborn child still find its way to the afterlife? Science, sensitivity, and the legacy of coffin birth. Coffin birth stands as a testament to natural processes, even in death. no longer attributed to supernatural forces or moral failings. It's a rare but explainable biological occurrence. Science demystifies it, but sensitivity and respect remain crucial. Discoveries require a balance between scientific inquiry and compassion. Archaeologists gain insights from these cases, shedding light on past practices and beliefs, blending scientific curiosity with human compassion. Section 21. Reframing death from aversion to acceptance. The exploration of coffin birth, while undeniably unsettling, offers a unique opportunity to reframe our understanding of death. In a society often characterized by death denial and the sanitization of mortality, confronting this unusual phenomenon can challenge our aversions and encourage a more open and accepting perspective on the natural processes of life and decay. Imagine for a moment stepping outside the confines of our culturally ingrained discomfort with death. Instead of viewing decomposition as something grotesque or taboo, we can begin to appreciate it as a fundamental part of the ecological cycle. Just as the fallen leaves of autumn nourish the soil for new life in the spring, so too does our physical form, through the process of decomposition, return to the earth, becoming part of something greater than ourselves. Coffin birth, with its stark reminder of the body's transformative journey after death, can serve as a catalyst for this shift in perspective. By acknowledging the biological realities of decomposition, including the potential for unexpected occurrences like postmortem fetal extrusion, we can begin to dismantle the fear and aversion that often surround death. This reframing of death is not meant to diminish the emotional and spiritual significance of loss. Grief, mourning, and the celebration of a life lived are all essential aspects of the human experience. However, by embracing the natural processes of decomposition, we can approach death with greater understanding and acceptance, acknowledging it as an integral part of the circle of life. Section 22. The body as ecosystem, life after death in microbial form. The human body exists as a complex ecosystem hosting trillions of microscopic organisms. This microbial community aids in digestion, bolsters our immune system, and influences our mood. After death, the microbial inhabitants undergo a remarkable transformation. Bacteria, once kept in check, now find a vast landscape of nutrients. This triggers a microbial bloom, setting in motion the process of decomposition. These decomposers break down complex molecules, releasing nutrients back into the environment. Life in microbial form flourishes in the aftermath of human death. Section 23. The fragility of life. Lessons from coffin birth. The unsettling nature of coffin birth, with its stark reminder of the body's transformative journey after death, can serve as a poignant reflection on the fragility of life. We often take for granted the delicate balance of systems that keep us alive, from the intricate workings of our cells to the vast network of interactions within our bodies and with the environment. Imagine for a moment the pregnant woman at the heart of the coffin birth phenomenon. She carried within her the promise of new life, a potential future embodied in the developing fetus. Yet death, in its indiscriminate embrace, claimed both mother and child, cutting short their journey and leaving behind a profound sense of loss. Coffin birth, in its unsettling way, underscores the precarious nature of our existence. It reminds us that life, for all its resilience and beauty, can be extinguished in an instant, leaving behind only the echoes of what might have been. This awareness of life's fragility can serve as a call to cherish the present moment, to appreciate the precious gift of life in all its forms. It encourages us to live with intention, to nurture our relationships, and to make the most of the time we have been given. Coffin birth, while a somber reminder of mortality, also highlights the interconnectedness of life and death. The decomposition process, while unsettling to behold, is a testament to the cyclical nature of existence, where endings pave the way for new beginnings. Section 24. Facing mortality, coffin birth and the human condition. Coffin birth, rooted in biology and decomposition, leads us to fundamental questions about the human condition. Our mortality shapes our art, literature, philosophies, and spiritual beliefs. Coffin birth reminds us of life's potential and death's finality, It challenges our understanding of the natural order and our place within it. Despite scientific advancements, we are subject to nature's laws. Acknowledging our mortality helps us live with greater intention and appreciate time. Embracing the inevitable. Death is a natural part of life. Death is an inevitable part of life. Endings are necessary for new beginnings. Death clears the way for new generations. Decomposition nourishes new life. Coffin birth reminds us of this natural cycle. Grief and mourning are essential aspects of life. Death connects us to past and future generations. Section 26. Beyond coffin birth. Broader implications for understanding death. Our exploration of coffin birth, while focused on a specific postmortem occurrence, has broader implications for how we approach death and dying in the 21st century. In a society often characterized by death denial, medicalized dying, and the sanitization of mortality, confronting the realities of decomposition and the unexpected ways in which our bodies can change after death can be a jarring yet ultimately enriching experience. Imagine, if you will, the potential for greater understanding and compassion if we were to incorporate the knowledge gleaned from studying death and decomposition into our cultural narratives and educational systems. Imagine if, instead of shielding children from the realities of death, we engage them in age-appropriate conversations about life cycles, decomposition, and the interconnectedness of all living things. By fostering a greater familiarity with death, we can begin to dismantle the fear and taboo that often surround it. We can learn to approach death with greater honesty and openness, having conversations with our loved ones about end-of-life care, death doulas, green burials, and other options that align with our values and wishes. Furthermore, by understanding the biological processes of decomposition, we can make more informed choices about how we care for the dead. From traditional burial practices to cremation to green burial options, each approach has its own environmental and ethical considerations. By educating ourselves about these options, we can make choices that align with our personal beliefs and contribute to a more sustainable future. Section 27. A legacy of curiosity and compassion, approaching death with open hearts and minds. As we conclude our exploration of coffin birth, let us carry forward a spirit of curiosity and compassion. Curiosity to continue exploring the mysteries of death and the human body, to delve deeper into the scientific and cultural understandings of this inevitable transition. Compassion for those who have died, for their families and loved ones, and for ourselves as we navigate our own mortality. Imagine, if you will, a world where death, while still acknowledged as a profound loss, is no longer shrouded in fear and silence. A world where we approach death with open hearts and minds, embracing the opportunity to learn from this universal experience and to support one another through the grieving process. Let us honor the memory of those who have died, not by shying away from the realities of death, but by engaging with them thoughtfully and respectfully. Let us continue to ask questions, to challenge assumptions, and to seek deeper understanding. And as we navigate our own journeys through life, let us remember the lessons learned from exploring the unsettling yet strangely illuminating phenomenon of coffin birth. That death is a natural part of life, that our bodies are both resilient and ephemeral, and that by facing our mortality with courage and compassion, we can live more fully in the present moment.